Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Today, we're joined by Katie Payne, who's the Executive Director of LifeLink of Georgia. Katie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Um, we structure these as interviews, but we really want to get to know you. And so, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to work in the field of organ donation and transplantation?
Sure. Background wise, I actually changed my major 7 times in college. And my first try at grad school, I thought I was going to be an audiologist, but ended up changing my mind because I found I wanted to be more clinical. So I went to nursing school and worked in a bone marrow transplant and thought that's where I would always stay. But a liver transplant surgeon needed some help, and of course, he thought that all transplant coordinators were the same. So brought me over to solid organ, and now I haven't left. As far as how I got into the OPO world, I got a call from LifeLink in October of 2004, and I was just 21 years old and had no idea who they were. But my older brother had died in a car accident that morning, and they were offering the option of donation. We said yes. And after that, I largely put LifeLink out of my mind. I went to grad school to become a nurse, had babies, and without planning it, I was managing a transplant center here in Atlanta. And 15 years after that first phone call from LifeLink, they called me back and asked me to come be an associate executive director. And just this past Tuesday or past February, became the executive director here in Georgia.
Oh, and that's a great story, a great connection. I mean, the
Mhm.
family connection. And so I understand organ donation is really special and important to you. So,
Yes, very much.
as you said, you're a relatively new leader
Mhm.
starting in February. How would you describe your leadership style?
I believe and hope that my leadership style would be transformational. I aim to have a personal relationship with every staff member in Georgia. Our work is hard and the days are long, and it's important for everyone to know that I'm thinking of them as people with families who need downtime and support. I'm also a partner to our leadership team, allowing them to really relay issues while asking how I can help and where they need me. Excuse me. I frequently ask, what do you want to do when faced with a problem? Because I hope to grow our leaders through mentorship and compassion, because at the end of the day, we only succeed together.
No, that's great. And it sounds like it goes a long way to building a team and a team atmosphere down there.
It really does.
Oh, that's great. Um, what's something challenging you find about your work and your new role?
Oh, a lot of things being new to the OPO world relatively, but it's both a challenge and really a passion to support our team through the hard days. Our frontline staff are approaching families at the worst moment of their life and asking them for something. And that's hard, and it takes really special people to work in donation. It's one of the most important parts of my job, really, reminding everyone of our whys, those waiting on the national transplant waiting list, the families who see hope in donation. The hard cases can cause us to lose sight for a moment. And it's my honor to be the one on the other end of the phone when I'm on call supporting our team.
That's yeah, it's challenging work, and I'm glad you're in your role, and I'm glad you stepped
Thanks.
into that role. And so, it sounds like you're doing great things down there. And speaking of that, we rolled out AOPO rolled out a goal to reach 50,000 annual organ transplants in 2026, and wondering how LifeLink of Georgia sees themselves fitting in and contributing to that goal.
That's a big question. We've been working and planning for this goal for years before I even joined LifeLink, and we're addressing every facet of our process. I'd say the most important thing we're doing to meet the goal is collaborating. We're reaching out to transplant centers as allocation has changed to understand the needs and goals of teams we've never worked with before. We're working with our other OPOs who are successful in areas where we feel we can improve. We're working with our community to expand education and access to both donation and transplant. And I believe we will all be successful in reaching that goal.
And we wanted to aim high, and we
Mhm.
appreciate your help in helping us reach that goal. So we
Absolutely.
we figured we had to have a stretch goal, and so
Mhm.
we appreciate you and the folks at LifeLink of Georgia and everyone in LifeLink in supporting us in this.
Absolutely.
So shifting just a little, what's your idea of a perfect day?
I was tempted to give the Miss Congeniality answer, but I have two small children who are involved in everything from gymnastics to piano, and watching them grow and experience new things, hearing their idea of a good knock knock joke, traveling with them to new places and seeing their minds expand. Any one of those things with them is really my perfect day.
Oh, that's great. How old are they?
My son is 10 and my daughter is 8. And my son frequently tells me that when he grows up, he wants to be executive director of LifeLink of Georgia. But for now, he is self-ordained himself as junior executive director of LifeLink of Georgia.
That's great. He's already a future employee and future CEO. That's great.
Yeah, growing him quick.
Anything before we close, is there anything you'd like to tell your colleagues or anything you'd want them to know as we close the session?
Yes, back to your question about our goal and collaboration. I have had some one-on-one meetings with some other CEOs and executive directors, and they've all been wonderful and supportive to work with. And so I'm thankful for the welcome from everyone, and I hope to really meet everyone individually and soon rather than later. And I just hope that we can all collaborate together in the future to really reach that goal for everyone.
That's great, and we appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to getting down to Georgia to visit you guys. So
Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait.
all right, thanks, Katie, and thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.